Hi, and welcome to part two of the series on the astrological archetypes. Um, First of all, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who has been viewing my videos so far and helping the channel grow and showing interest. Thank you for subscribing as well. And I want to encourage you to comment on any of the videos. Don't feel shy. It helps the channel and it helps discussion going, and I'm definitely always happy to answer questions on anything uh, in regards to the videos and the topics that I'm presenting here. So don't be hesitant, just shoot a comment and we can start the conversation. So today I'm going to continue, as I said, on the astrological archetypes. And I wanted to quickly, um, I guess, sum up what I said last time about the planets and the archetypes that they represent. So basically, what I said is that, there's these archetypes in the universe that kind of are the fundamental, basic energies that form our reality and also our own psyche. And you can see these archetypes everywhere. For example, I talked about Saturn, and I said that Saturn is kind of the face of the archetype behind Saturn, which we can't really talk about, but we can kind of sense it or intuitively get in tune with it and in touch with it. It's more of a feeling, the archetype, than it is actually words or thoughts or something we could describe. So for Saturn, I said, for example, that Saturn has to do with structuring things, with building things, with the desire to have stability and structure. And we can talk about the desire for structure and stability, but in reality, it's more of a feeling. It's more of an impulse that we have when we want to structure ourselves or the environment around us. We want to set boundaries. We want something to be in order. And it's an impulse we have more than well, how could you say? It's not thoughts that we have right away about something. It's more like an impulse, and then comes the thoughts, then comes the words and the ability to kind of describe it and act upon it. So basically, the archetypes are that. It's the thing behind the structuring in Saturn's case. So that is true for all the planets and all the signs as well, and the houses. So a quick explanation, I guess, to the difference between the planets and the signs and also the houses. So in case of a planet, what we talk about is the manifestation of a desire of the universe or of your own psyche, but it's manifesting as an action. So for example, in Saturn's case, we see Saturn in a chart, we see that in this area, the person will actively structure things, or there will be structuring happening. There will be a lot of limitations maybe, or there will be a lot of order, depending on how Saturn is aspected in the sign and everything. So I'm using Saturn as an example, but I could as well use Mars and say that in that place, Mars, is the desire for action towards something. So if you see Mars in a sign or a house, you see that this person is going to take action toward a specific goal, specifically in that area the most, or whenever Mars is triggered in there or whatever. Um, so that's an action. It's something that the planet shows something that's actively going to happen. Now the signs are more of a quality, like a backdrop of desire, and it's not that the sign shows where someone actively is going to do something or where the universe is going to actively make something happen or appear or whatever, but it's more a desire that's kind of in the background, like the background of a picture. Now they have the things that happen in the picture, people are acting, that's the planets, but the signs are more the background. So for example, if I take Aquarius, right? Um, for Aquarius, it's the desire to contribute something of importance. So Aquarius is the water bearer. We talked about this in the Pluto video, watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. But Aquarius is kind of the water bearer who wants to contribute something important. So there's a desire there. But the signs kind of need either their ruling planet, which in this case would again be Saturn, or a planet that's in the sign to, activate these things. So let's say Mars is showing up in Aquarius. So there's the active desire to go toward a goal, which is Mars, and Mars takes action upon this passion, this desire, and it's in the sign of Aquarius, so the backdrop is the desire to contribute something of importance. So if you combine those two, you see that the archetype of Mars, which is the desire to take action and go toward a goal, combined with Aquarius, which is the archetypal desire of contributing something of meaning, so pouring out this, water that you have, you could say that, this person, or in this situation where this happens, there's going to be a very direct and strong activity toward contributing something of importance. And then you add the house, which then describes an area of your life or the person's life that you're talking about, where this is going to manifest. So if you see Aquarius in the 10th house and you have Mars in there, then you could see the 10th house is about your role in the world and your place that you take, or the desired contribution that you make in the world. So it's kind of could be your career, could be your life work, could be a desire to have a certain spot in the world, and combine that with Mars. So it's this person's going to take strong action toward this. It's going to walk directly, and it's going to collect a lot of energy toward this specific goal in their career to like get somewhere, to get something done, to establish themselves somehow. And combine that with Aquarius, so it's going to be they want to contribute something of meaning, something that helps all of humanity or the whole group, and kind of contribute something valuable. So you see, when you combine these three different archetypes and archetypal energies, then you can speak very clear and direct about something that's going to happen in this area. And that is why it's so important to really understand the archetypes and the energies behind them, because we can get lost in all kinds of, things. Aquarius, they're kind of, without, wanting to bash this or something, but, Aquarius is kind of withdrawn, and they're kind of, elusive and eclectic, and all these things can be true. But what's really behind Aquarius? What does Aquarius really want? Right? Aquarius wants to contribute something of value, something of meaning for the group. So we want to talk about that first, and then we can get into the details of, what a person that has a strong Aquarius could be like. Because, for example, they could be more interested in contributing that thing to the whole group than being involved in everyday activities and everything. Yeah, so if we combine these aspects, we take the backdrop of the sign, that desire of the sign, which is more of like a present desire that doesn't necessarily take action right away, but it needs something to activate it. We have the planet, who is the active ingredient, basically the action, or the desire that does take some form of action in the world or in the psyche of the person. And we have the house, which describes what area of your life this is going to take place. So combining them, and if you learn that language, you are really able to dig deep into the the background and I guess the motives of the placements that you have in your chart, or in a person's chart, or an event chart, whatever. So that being said, I would like to talk about the first two planets in this series that I want to kind of explain the archetype. And the first one is going to be the sun. Now, big surprise. We all kind of know when people say, I'm a Virgo, or I'm a Cancer, or whatever. They talk about what they've gotten to know about the placement of their sun in their chart, actually. They're a sun sign, and that means that the sun is in a specific sign in their chart, and that's the sign that they refer to. Most people that know astrology a little bit only know their sun sign. Of course, there's so many placements and planets and combinations of planets and placements that we can look at in astrology, and it's basically a bottomless pit of information you can get. And just knowing the sun sign, if you know someone just superficially, that's all you're going to know about them. Because the sun's desire, or the desire of the universe that the sun manifests and shows us, so the archetype behind the sun, is the desire to, well, to share yourself, to project yourself, to give yourself to everybody else. So if we look at the sun, you know, and it shows up in the sky, and it takes the whole sky, it lights it all up, it makes everything visible, and basically you can't go anywhere without seeing the sun during the daytime unless you stand inside or you're behind something. But the sun really takes space and gives of itself. And that desire of the universe to, first of all, manifest, right, to be, to exist, is the sun's archetype behind the sun. So when you look at a person's chart and you see the sun, you can immediately say, okay, so this is the area that people are going to see immediately when they meet you. Like this is your projection, basically. This is also the area where you're going to naturally give of yourself. Like this is the area where you're naturally going to manifest this kind of energy. So let's say we place the sun in Scorpio, okay? And we meet a person that has the sun in Scorpio. Scorpio's desire, and I'm going to talk about that, all the signs later on, but Scorpio's desire is to get in touch with what's real, what's true, what's underneath the surface. So Scorpio's a very uh, deep sign in that sense, very in there, like goes in and wants to dig deep. So having the sun there, that's the first thing you're going to project when people meet you. You know, there's a certain kind of penetration to you, and there's a certain kind of depth to you, but it's kind of hidden behind a wall of, you know, vulnerability and protection. Scorpio has this shell, you know, and it's protecting itself. So there's something to you that people kind of feel is there, but they kind of they need to get to know you better. But you as a person, you're going to be very um, well, you're going to project this kind of penetration of Scorpio, this thing that goes in and, you know, wants to dig deep. So, you know, some people experience that as someone being critical or someone being combative or whatever, but it's really this like constantly going behind and digging underneath and wanting to find out what's really there, what's true. I hope that makes sense. So that is the backdrop of Scorpio and the sun being placed there. That is what you give of yourself naturally. That's your projection. But that's only one placement. But of course, that's the one that's most like that we see the most in people because when we first meet them, that's what we see first, or that's what's most present. But that's the sun. And the sun, the sign that is ruled by the sun. So every sign has its ruling planet. And in case of the sun, the sign that it rules is Leo. And Leo, you know, if you know a Leo pretty close, you can see that Leo has this desire to show something that is that it kind of senses there's something of value inside of itself that it wants to share with the world. So there's something about Leo that Leo thinks would be very noble to give to the world, just like the sun, right? The sun gives us its light, it gives us its life, it gives us its warmth. Um, and Leo is kind of that, but as a sign. So um, it also, if you have a Leo and for some reason they get the feeling that someone doesn't see anything of value in them and rejects something in them, it's really hard for Leo to get over that. It goes very deep. So if you place a planet in Leo, for example, and let's say we place Venus there, right? Venus is about connections. Venus wants to connect things. Venus wants us to have a positive time, a pleasurable time. So it's about good stuff and it's about connecting things. And putting that in Leo, That could be the person that's a party animal, not necessarily party animal like partying hard, but when they show up at a party, they draw everybody together and they just have a good time together with them. That's Venus and Leo. Um, or if you have Mercury in Leo, that's a person that will probably talk about themselves a lot because Mercury is about exchange of information. So, and of data, or exchanging anything really. And I'll talk about Mercury later on more, obviously. But Mercury and Leo will mean that a person, they have something of value and they talk about it a lot. Like they share this thing about themselves by speaking about it and having conversations. So sometimes we can feel like that person talks about their own experiences and achievements, and we're like, oh, talking a lot about yourself, but it's really that there's something of value that they want to communicate to us. That's Mercury, right? So the archetype of Leo is the desire to share something of value with the world. That can manifest in leadership, it can manifest in arts, it can manifest in just how well they present themselves to people, and yeah, it always depends on what planets are connected to Leo, right? So I hope that makes sense. And that's the sun, and that's Leo. So the next would be the moon. And the moon, other than the sun, has the desire to receive energy into itself or to itself and then reflect it back. We see that clearly, that the moon reflects the light of the sun. And the moon, it's kind of a wavy movement of the moon where it sometimes increases and sometimes it's more receiving, and then sometimes it's more reflecting. Sometimes it's more about things that we naturally attract to ourselves, and sometimes it's more about how we respond to the world. So it always depends on certain aspects, but both is going to happen wherever your moon shows up in the chart. So the archetypal desire behind the moon is receiving and reflecting. So let's say you put the moon in Virgo, okay? You have your moon in Virgo, or if someone's moon is in Virgo. And Virgo is the desire to improve and the desire to take the world and take what's there and improve upon it and make it just better. Basically, Virgo is the improving force in the universe. And Virgo's desire is to do that with everything. It looks at itself and the world and it's like, okay, this can improve, that can improve, this is not right, this can be changed. And it's really the deep desire to make the world a better place. It doesn't mean that they're negative all the time, it just means they can always find something to improve, right? So putting the moon there, it could mean that you naturally attract this kind of energy to you sometimes, where it's like, okay, people are coming to me and they're telling me things I need to improve. They're telling me things that they think they like about what I'm doing or who I am, but there could still be better. You know, they're looking a lot about the details and what I'm doing, so I attract this kind of energy to me. And then sometimes it can mean that that's how I respond to the world. So sometimes I might be the one who reflects upon the world and is like seeing all these things that can change, and I then am able to respond to the world in that way. So that would be Moon in Virgo. So it, on the one hand, means you attract that energy. On the other hand, you respond this way to the world. It's both. The moon is, moving like that. And the sign that is ruled by the moon is Cancer. And Cancer, the desire of Cancer, or the archetypal energy behind Cancer, is to take in the world and the energies around and reflect upon them, filter them. Sometimes Cancer can be overwhelmed with that because sometimes there's too much input, and Cancer needs to withdraw sometimes. But taking this energy in, filtering it, and then presenting it to create a a safe space, or a space where these energies are reflected in a good way, a productive way. Um, so let's say you put let's say you put Mars in Cancer, okay? So that means that there's a very direct action toward this energy of Cancer. So there, Cancer will like put itself out there and like take all these things in a very direct way, very passionate way. So that might mean they might put themselves in groups or places or whatever and really get engaged with things and take it all in. And then just as direct, they need to withdraw and like reflect on everything. And, you might not see them for a while, or they might just be off the face of the earth for a little bit. And then they respond um, and reflect these energies again in a very direct way. So you might know people like that who are, just there and they're taking everything in, they're in the middle kind of, and then suddenly they're like withdrawn. And then they come back and they're kind of reflective in a certain way. And then this whole cycle continues. So it's kind of like a cycle with the moon of how these energies manifest. Yeah, so that will be the sun and the moon. I hope it makes sense. I hope I've explained this clearly enough. Again, I encourage you to write comments, ask me questions. No question is stupid. I love questions. It actually helps me to respond in a certain way to people. I have the moon in Leo, so I like to reflect and respond and take things in and being able to express myself that way. So I encourage you to comment and also subscribe and hit a like if you want to. And we will see each other in the next part. Thank you so much and have a good day.